So for years, Thailand carried the crown as Southeast Asia's tourism king, and you're probably familiar with the stereotype. There are beaches, nightlife, temples, the cheap food, and in general the reputation as a backpacker paradise that really made it the go-to destination for anyone looking to stretch a dollar while living out a wild little adventure. But today the headlines are quite a bit different. Tourism is down, Vietnam is on the rise, and Thailand's golden era is supposedly over. But here's the truth. Yes, tourism numbers are declining. Yes, Vietnam and other countries are sort of stealing the spotlight. But no, this is not a death sentence for Thailand. In fact, it's the opposite. Thailand absolutely needed this correction, and I think the country is better off because of it. The drop in numbers is exactly what Thailand deserves, and most importantly, exactly what it needs. So let's deal with the facts first. From January to June 2025, Thailand welcomed about 16.6 million tourists. Now that sounds like a lot until you realize that it's an almost 5% drop compared to the same period in 2024. May alone saw an almost 15% decline. And when you measure it against the peak of 2019, the picture gets clearer. Back then, nearly 40 million foreigners poured into Thailand. And this year, projections sit at around 35 million. That's a 10% drop from an all-time high. Now, on paper, that's billions in lost revenue. For a country where tourism accounts for a massive share of GDP, this is no small issue. But if you think this means Thailand is crumbling, you don't understand how the country actually works. Now, there are 5 core reasons why tourism is down, and all of them make perfect sense. So let's cut the sugarcoating and spell them out. Number 1, Thailand isn't dirt cheap anymore. For decades, Thailand had the reputation of being the land where a dollar could take you further than anywhere else. And the backpackers, they loved bragging about the $1 meals, $5 accommodation, and condos with rooftop pools for a few $100 a month. That version of Thailand is mostly gone. In my humble opinion, part of that reputation was due to clickbait videos. I spent $250 per month living in Thailand, or here's my $100 per month condo in Bangkok. Some very, very extreme version of living in Thailand that wouldn't be enjoyable for 99% of people. Yes, Thailand was and is still very cheap compared to the West, but don't fall for those outlandish cost of living reports. Now these days, a halfway decent condo in Bangkok can cost you $500 plus a month. Gym membership easily runs you $40 to $80. A proper restaurant meal will cost you, $10, $15. Not outrageous, but nowhere near the fantasy of Thailand on $5 a day. Even street food isn't the bargain it once was. And then you add inflation and global financial pressure and people having less disposable income, and suddenly Thailand doesn't look like a magic budget paradise. It looks like sort of like good price value, maybe middle income country with middle income prices, which is exactly what it is. Number 2, Chinese tourism collapsed. This is, of course, the elephant in the room. Chinese tourists once made up one of the largest groups visiting Thailand, filling buses, flooding night markets, and fueling entire neighborhoods of the economy. And now, well, they're gone. Chinese arrivals are down by over 30%, and the reasons are clear if you read the news, sort of like safety concerns, sometimes corruption scandals. There's been some kidnappings making headlines, and even fears after earthquakes about building safety. The earthquake that happened just a few months ago. The damages to Thailand's image in China has been massive. And when your single biggest group of tourists disappears, you feel it everywhere. Walk around Bangkok today and you will see fewer Chinese buses, fewer crowds of package tourists, and fewer markets crammed wall to wall with, Chinese tourists. That missing energy is costing Thailand billions. Number 3, fresh competition is winning. Vietnam is the new kid on the block. Malaysia is stepping up. Japan has always been a magnet. The point is simple. Tourists want what feels new and exciting and affordable. And Vietnam is having its golden moment. It has the beaches, the nightlife, the culture, and crucially the cheap prices Thailand used to be known for. And tourists love chasing, the next big thing. And so like right now, Vietnam feels like that next big thing for a lot of people. And meanwhile, Thailand feels more mature, almost too familiar too mainstream. And when a country has already been, the number one spot for decades, that the hype naturally fades. Keep in mind, though, that Vietnam, in my opinion, is nowhere near Thailand's level in terms of the infrastructure, the nightlife, the dating options, etc., etc. So while it might be cheaper and less touristy, your level of comfort and what you're actually getting for it, the overall convenience, will take a massive hit compared to Thailand. Number 4, government policies. Thailand has a habit of changing the rules overnight. Weed was legalized, then pulled back. Tourist visas went from 30 to 60 days, then back to 30 days. Border runs, once the lifeline for digital nomads and long-term travelers, can now be sort of dangerous in that regard, with people being denied re-entry. Even official visas are out of reach for most people. If you want a 5-year digital nomad visa, well, you need almost 15K in the bank. Good luck with that if you're a 20-year-old freelancer. The end result is simple. Thailand in that regard, for someone who wants to stay long-term, and I'm not just talking about, tourist who wants to go for 30 days or 3 weeks. In that regard, Thailand feels unstable. Tourists and expats, they want ease, not headaches. And in this regard, Thailand's policies make staying here feel like a gamble for a lot of people. Now, why is this good news? Here's the part that the media won't tell you. This decline is not the end of Thailand's tourism. It's the beginning of its evolution. Because if you really think about it, over-tourism was destroying Thailand. By 2019, the country was almost suffocating. Beaches had to be shut down because tourists trashed them. Nightlife districts were almost like war zones of drunken chaos. Infrastructure was collapsing under the weight of millions of short-term visitors. Prices shut up, locals got pushed aside, and Thailand started looking more like Bali, overcrowded, overpriced, you could say even soulless. And that's not tourism, that's self-destruction. And what's happening right now is a much needed correction. The hype is dying down a little bit, the crowds are thinning, and Thailand finally has room to breathe. This is the country's chance to pivot away from mass tourism towards something more sustainable. And here's the smarter play that, a lot of these people that are in charge have realized. They stop chasing sheer numbers and start chasing quality. Thailand doesn't need 40 million drunk backpackers showing up for a week. It needs fewer tourists who stay longer, spend more, and actually respect the country. This is already the direction being discussed at the high levels. The governor of Bangkok has openly said he wants Thailand to focus on attracting talent, not just tourists. Think Singapore's model, but with Thailand's culture, beaches, and lifestyle. And that means focusing on industries like tech, AI, and startups, while building policies that attract serious expats. And long-term residents who learn the language, invest in businesses, build families, and generally contribute to society, not just fly in, get wasted, and leave a mess behind. And let's be honest, for those of us who actually live here, fewer tourists make life infinitely better. Less congestion, less strain on public transportation, fewer crowded beaches, lower stress. Everyday life is calmer, cleaner, and more livable. And here's what most people miss. Walk through Bangkok, Pattaya, or Phuket today, and you will still see crowds everywhere. The malls are packed, the bars are full, the streets are buzzing. A 10% decline in tourists doesn't mean ghost town. It just means slightly fewer buses, slightly less chaos, and slightly more breathing room. Thailand hasn't gone quiet. It's still loud, lively, and very much alive. For the average tourist or expat, nothing has really changed. Now, when we compare Vietnam versus Thailand, Vietnam is hot right now, and it deserves the attention. It's cheap, energetic, and on the rise. But that doesn't mean Thailand is finished. Vietnam is the underdog enjoying its golden era. Thailand is the veteran that has already proven itself. Yes, Vietnam will siphon off tourists. Yes, it may even overtake Thailand in numbers someday, but Thailand still has an edge. Infrastructure, as I've mentioned before, reputation, the lifestyle, the ease of community building, etc. It's one thing to attract tourists, it's another to create an ecosystem where people want to live long term, and that's where Thailand still dominates. You can build a business here, fall in love here, raise a family here, and live comfortably while still enjoying the energy of Southeast Asia. And I think Vietnam isn't there yet. So is tourism down? Yes. Is the economy losing billions? Yes. But does this spell doom for Thailand? Not even close. This is the natural correction that comes after years of explosive growth. It's the hangover after the party. But hangovers force you to think about your choices. Thailand is being forced to rethink its addiction to mass tourism. That's a good thing. For expats, life is better now, less chaos, fewer crowds, and a country that feels more balanced. For Thailand itself, this is the chance to mature, diversify, and focus on building something beyond just cheap tourism. So Thailand isn't collapsing, it's evolving. And if you're smart enough to see that, you'll realize this so-called decline isn't bad news at all. It's probably the start of something better.